This is the Scarcity Studios YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. At just gone 10 past 10 on Saturday the 11th of November 2023, Anselam Senaj, who was 26 years old, was set up in a drug deal that had gone wrong. He was in the back of a taxi when it was ambushed and several men stabbed him to death. The CCTV footage is so graphic I will not be able to show it on YouTube. In order to be able to watch that footage in full, you will have to follow the Telegram channel and the link will be in the description or Twitter. On the 11th of April at the Old Bailey, 4 men were sentenced for their involvement in the brutal murder. During a 14-week trial, the court heard the gang of men used a stolen vehicle to stop the taxi that Anselam was travelling in and attacked him while he was sat in the back seat at the junction of Victoria Avenue and Grangewood Street. Despite the best efforts of emergency services, he died at the scene. The Met's crime commander issued warrants at various addresses across London on the 22nd of November 2023. This led to the arrest of Miah, Ali and Naim, and they were all charged with murder that night. They were forensically analysed and the clothes that were worn by the victim were also analysed and the suspect's blood was found on some of the clothing. After downloading phone conversations between the victim and the group, they determined that it was all over drugs. The team then identified that one of the suspects, Khan, had fled to Amsterdam after the murder, and as a further suspect, they initiated a manhunt to bring him to justice. After further inquiries by the Metropolitan team and following an international law effort investigation, Khan was arrested on the 4th of December 2023 by Dutch authorities. On the 12th of January 2024, he was returned to the UK and taken into custody, and he was charged with murder and possession of a knife. Khan and Miah were both convicted of murder and possession of a knife on the 13th of January, and Naim and Ali were both convicted of manslaughter at the same trial. Mohammed Khan, 24 years old, from Manor Park, was jailed for life with a minimum of 26 years. Mohammed Miah, 19 years old, from Manor Park, was jailed for life to serve a minimum of 25 years. Their sentences also included the possession of a knife. Ibrahim Naim, 18 years old, from East Ham, was sentenced to 10.5 years for manslaughter, and Zain Ali, from East Ham, was sentenced to 14 years for manslaughter. Detective Sergeant Brett Hagan from the Met investigation said Anselam was killed in a brutal, cold-blooded assault which lasted only seconds but was so severe that he died at the scene. Our team conducted a thorough and detailed investigation and this led to the arrests of suspects within 2 weeks of the attack. We'd like to thank our partner agencies in Amsterdam for arresting Khan as soon as we made them aware. Our thoughts also go to Anselam's family and friends as they move forward in life, and the knowledge that his attackers are behind bars where they belong should hopefully bring some comfort. This story definitely shows the dangers that are posed by drug dealing and getting involved, especially with people you don't know and doing any sort of business whatsoever. Nowadays, you just don't know the risks that are posed, so try to take as many precautions as possible and avoid getting involved with anything that you don't have to. I want to send my condolences to the victim's family, and I really look forward to hearing what the viewers have to say on this story. In this next story, it's a follow-up to a story that we covered about the murder in Notting Hill last year. This was on the day that was known as Family Day, where children, relatives could go on a parade and take part in all of the fun that would have occurred on Sunday the 25th of August 2024. Cher Maximum was 32 years old and she was with her friends and her daughter just off the carnival parade route when she was caught up in a fight involving multiple men. She was stabbed in the groin and died in hospital 6 days later. A man that was caught on camera stabbing her has been convicted and found guilty of her murder. She died in front of her own daughter. On Wednesday, the 9th of April at the Old Bailey, Shaquille Taboo, 20 years old, of Hammersmith and Fulham, was convicted of Cher's murder and attempted GBH with intent to possess an offensive weapon. The court heard that Cher had spent the afternoon with her daughter and friends among a crowd in Walton Road, which was just off the parade route, and it was just before 6 p.m, and a fight broke out in the crowd. CCTV and police officers' body-worn video footage shown during the trial shows Shakil attempting to stab a man in the abdomen, and Cher was caught in the melee and she was knocked to the floor and she grabbed onto Shakil's coat as she tried to get back to her feet. In an effort to defend herself and her daughter, Cher kicked out and was stabbed in the groin as she did so, and she fell back down to the ground. Police rushed to her aid and emergency treatment was given until the arrival of the paramedics. She was transported to hospital in a critical condition, but despite the best efforts of medical teams, she died on Saturday the 31st of August. Video footage showed that moments before Cher was stabbed, Shakil's brothers, Sheldon, Taboo and Sheem, along with an unidentified male, fought with one other man, and Sheldon was seen wielding an illegal stun gun, and a police officer tried to intervene to break up the fight and was assaulted by both the brothers. The three brothers and an associate fled the scene, but CCTV recovered during the investigation showed Shakil, when leaving Carnival, was captured on CCTV, taking off his outer clothing with an associate and calmly making his way out of the area. An investigation started immediately, and police began running images of the body-worn video cameras through facial recognition software, and it revealed a match for Sheldon and Sheem, and further identified Shakil. A manhunt was launched and police searched a number of addresses across West London. Shakil was found lying on the floor under a sleeping bag when police found him in the early hours of the 27th of August, and during a search of the address they found a distinctive bag that they saw on footage at the carnival. His jacket had been left at the scene and it came off in the struggle, and it was tested for DNA and found to be 1 in a billion match for Shakil. Further proof that he did commit the stabbing. Detectives would also spend weeks trawling through hours of CCTV and body-worn footage, as well as messages on mobile phones recovered at the time of the brothers' arrest. This helped them to establish a watertight case against Shakil and his brothers, Sheldon Taboo from Hammersmith and Fulham, and Sheem Taboo from Hammersmith and Fulham stood trial alongside his brother. Sheldon was found guilty of violent disorder, and he also pled guilty to possession of the stun gun. Sheldon and Shayeem were both found guilty of assaulting an emergency worker. Shakil and Shayeem will be sentenced at the Old Bailey on Friday the 16th of May. Sheldon will be sentenced in due course, and the time is yet to be confirmed. Cher's grandmother said in a statement that she was my firstborn grandchild and I held her in my arms the day she was born. I spent 32 years loving you and seeing you laugh, play, cry, and also going on holiday. I will no longer have that pleasure ever again, and not seeing you get married or have more children is something I'll have to live with. Detective Inspector Alex Gamma-Pillow said the Metropolitan Police's Crime Command did everything we could to solve the murder of Cher, and we did everything we could to help the family in this horrific time. The investigation team worked diligently and tirelessly to bring a case against the brothers, and they worked to make sure Cher's family and friends got justice that they were able to be happy about. They had to go through the pain of witnessing her final moments throughout the trial, and I commend the bravery and the dignified way they handled themselves with the amount of exposure they were given. This story really does highlight the dangers and the risks that people take when they go out to events like this and you take murder weapons. Anybody could get hurt, and in this case a mother was murdered in front of her own child, and this child will grow up knowing these were the last memories of her mother. So I want to send my condolences to the family of Cher and also her daughter, and please pay your respects in the comments for Cher. I'll be back again very shortly with some more news. Please don't forget to follow on social media as well at Scarcity Studios on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter and Telegram.